Today we're going to talk about solving with unlike mixed numbers. We did adding and subtracting with like denominators with regular fractions as well as already with mixed numbers. So we're changing it up a little bit, and there might be one special step. So we're going to start off with getting our notebooks ready, date at the top, heading at the top. Again, this is going to be a good time to pause to take our notes. I'll read through them first with you, and then we'll work through some sample problems together. So step number one is to find the least common denominator. We've been practicing this. If you don't remember the steps on how to do that, look back at yesterday's notes. Numbers two is to make equivalent fractions. So these two we've been working on. That's why I did not break down the steps. If you need the steps broken down, go back and watch yesterday's video or go back to your notes. Step three, add or subtract the whole number first. Remember, a mixed number is a whole number with a fraction included as a part of that number. So we're going to add or subtract the whole number first. Step four, we're going to add or subtract the fraction. The new fraction, the equivalent fraction that we've already made. All right, step five is in a completely different color, and when you're copying this down in your notes, you may want to make it look different, make it look special, because you'll notice we only need to do this when we need to, not all the time. So step five is to ungroup a whole to make an improper fraction. To subtract, we don't need to do this for addition, only to subtract when needed. So only step five sometimes, not all the time. So this is, again, a good time to stop the video, copy down all of the notes that you see here, bringing attention to number five because it's not something we do every single time. Pause. I'm going to move on to our next question. We'll work through some together. Welcome back. All right, so our first question we're going to do together is a subtraction. We're going to start off with ones that don't involve our special number five. So we're going to do regular mixed number addition, regular mixed number subtraction, following our steps. Then we'll do some examples that have that special case for number five. So our first question is going to be 2 3/8 minus 1 1/4. Okay? So our step number one is to find that common denominator. Just as we practiced yesterday, we're starting with the smallest digit denominator, followed by the largest. Okay? So we're going to list our multiples. 4, 8. I'm going to stop because 8 is here. So 8 is my least common multiple. That's nice because now I don't even have to change this one. So be careful when you're making your equivalent fractions. Don't forget about the whole. So my whole doesn't change, and for this, oops, my fraction's not going to change because it's already in eighths. Here, I'm going to keep my whole, and I'm just changing my fraction. How do I get that to be into eighths? 4 times 2 is 8, so I'm going to do times 2 on the top, and we end up with 1. My whole does not change, and 2/8. Now I can subtract. 2 minus 1 is 1. 3 minus 2 is 1. My denominator is eighths. Pretty straightforward. Very similar to yesterday. The only thing that we've added is the whole. Let's go on to the second one. All right, our next example is going to be addition. So we're going to do 4 1/5 plus 2 1/3. Okay? Again, we're starting off with our same steps from yesterday. Smallest digit in the denominator, then the largest digit. We're listing our multiples. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. I'm going to stop there. Multiples of 5, 5, 10, 15. So there is my least, oops, got rid of that one, my least common multiple. So now moving on, I'm going to make my equivalent fractions. My wholes do not change. All right, I'm changing my fractions. So 5 times what gives me 15? 5 times 3. So I'm going to do times 3 on the top. So we end up with 3. 3 times what gives me 15 times 5. So I'm going to do that on the top. and that gives me 5. Now I can add the whole numbers first. 4 plus 2 is 6. My numerator is 3 plus 5 is 8. My denominator stays the same, 15ths. Very straightforward. We're going to move on now to that special case. Ready? Watch this. Don't get nervous now. Okay, so this is going to look the same, but you'll see what happens when we try and subtract. Remember, this special case, this number 5, only happens with a subtraction equation. Our steps are all the same until we get to the end. So I'm still going to do the same thing. I'm going to list my multiples of 6. I'm going to list my multiples of 9. Okay? So we have 6, 12, 18, 24. I'm going to stop there. Now I'm going to list my multiples of 9, 9, 18. 18 is my least common denominator. All right? So we're going to make our equivalent fractions. My wholes do not change. So here, our common denominator, least common denominator was 18. How do I make 18 here? 6 times 3. I'm going to do times 3 on the top. Okay? Nothing different right now. How do I make 18 here? Times 2. Times 2 on the top. 7 times 2 is 14. All right? We haven't gotten to anything different yet. 9 minus 5. You can do that. It's 4. Look at what happens here. I'm going to get rid of that. 3 minus 14. If I have 3, I can't take 14. So this is where our special case, number 5, is going to come into play. So I got rid of this because I'm going to have to ungroup a whole here. I can't subtract 3 minus 14. I need to turn this fraction into something else. I'm going to erase a little bit so I have some room to work. I'm going to change my marker color so you can see the difference. All right. So I'm going to ungroup this 8, or this 9, and I'm going to take one away. Now I have 8. That one that I took away, you have to remember what's the whole. The whole is 18 18ths, right? So I took one whole away, so now I have 9. So with that whole that I took away, that 18 18ths, I'm going to add it to my 3 18ths. Well, what's 18 plus 3? 18, 19, 20, 21. My denominator is still 18ths. So this is what I meant by ungrouping the whole. So I took one whole away, I ungrouped my whole and left me with 8, and I added that whole to my fraction already, and I have now an improper fraction, okay? I don't have to do anything to this guy. He's fine. But now when I look at it, I can do 8 minus 5, but I can also do 21 minus 14. All right, so now we can subtract. 8 minus 5 is 3. 21 minus 14 is 7. My denominator stays the same. So we have this extra step in here because we couldn't subtract. Let's practice another one like this. Again, this is only with subtraction, only sometimes. So we have to be those math detectives and really put our magnifying glass out there and look. All right, let's try another one. Okay. Let's do 7 and 1/8 minus 4 and 5/12. Again, our process is exactly the same. We're going to start with the smallest denominator and then the larger one. We're going to list the multiples. 8, 16. Just had a little brain fluff. Okay, I think I'm good to stop there. So my multiples of 12, there we go. 24 is my least common denominator. We're moving on to step 2. Again, nothing is different yet. Make our equivalent fractions. My whole numbers do not change. My new denominator is going to be 24. How did I get this to be 24? Times 2. So times 2 here, now we have 10. Times 3. 8 times 3 is 24. Times 3 here, now I have 3. let's be that math detective. Let's look at this subtraction first. I can do 7 minus 4. Great. Can I do 3 minus 10? No. If I have 3, I cannot take 10. So again, this is our special case number 5 that we are going to have to do some work with. So we're going to ungroup our whole number. Instead of 7, now I have 6. What's that whole that we pulled out? We have to know the whole fraction. The whole fraction is 24 24ths. My denominator is 24, so if I have 24 of them, I know I have the whole. I'm going to add that to what I already had. So 24 plus 3 is 27. My denominator is still 24ths. Now I have 27 24ths. I don't have to change this guy, just the top one. Now again, let's get that magnifying glass out. I can still do 6 minus 4. Now I can subtract my numerators. I'm going to do 6 minus 4 is 2. 27 minus 10 is 17. My denominator stays 24. Let's make this guy bigger because he's a whole. Okay? 2 and 17 24ths. All right. The next one I put up here, you guys are going to do on your own. It's going to be one that's a special case. So we're going to have to use that rule number 5. It's 4 1/5 plus 3 1/3. No, it's not. It's minus, because we only use that special case for subtraction equations. So I'm going to be looking for all of your notes, number 5, and I want to see that you did something to differentiate number 5 from all the rest of your notes. I want to see the couple of problems that we did together, plus this subtraction equation. I'm giving you a heads up right now. You're going to have to use step number 5 for this. All right, guys. Toodaloo. Enjoy. Bye.